Sehr Damen und Herren, herzlich willkommen. Unser Thema der heutigen Sendung lautet Fragen zu Menschenrechtsverletzungen in Ägypten. Our topic today about some questions about on human rights violations in Egypt. أعزائي المشاهدين أحييكم وأرحب بكم من قلب العاصمة النمساوية فيينا. لقاء اليوم تساؤلات حول ملف انتهاكات حقوق الإنسان بمصر وأهمية الحراك القانوني ضد مرتكبي جرائم الحرب وانتهاكات حقوق الإنسان كرادع للأنظمة الغير شرعية والانقلابية. دعونا نرحب بضيوفنا في الاستوديو. معنا الدكتور عزت عوض وهو أستاذ جامعي، والأستاذ توفيق حميدي رئيس منظمة سام للحقوق والحريات، ومعنا المحامي عامر صديق من باكستان، وكذلك معنا على الهواء الدكتور سعيد عفيفي، ومعنا الدكتور عبد الموجود درديري، ومعنا كذلك سعادة الدكتور عبدو اللبان، ومعنا السيد يوشع طيب. أهلا بكم أعزائي جميعا. Let our guests in United States and South of Africa and Sierra Leone, they can introduce themselves. We can start with Dr. Abdel Mawjoud Dardiri. Please, you can introduce yourself to us. You welcome.
First of all, I really thank you. And I'm so honored to be such a group. I'm so happy to be part of any human rights work, any work that promotes respect for human rights and protecting human rights. My name is Abdul Mawjoud Dardiri. By profession, I am an academic. I teach in the university here in the United States. And by necessity, I became a politician because when I was elected as a member of the Egyptian Parliament for the Freedom and Justice Party, I served on Foreign Relations Committee. And after the military coup, I am still serving on foreign relations for the Egyptian Parliament outside of Egypt, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you.
Thank you so much. Maybe you can check the sound again, Dr. Abdel Mawjoud, if your microphone is correct inside the slot, your slot. Okay, Dr. Saeed Afifi, please you introduce yourself to our colleagues and our guests.
Bismillah, Saeed Afifi. I'm Egyptian refugee since Mubarak regime in United States since 2000. I was working in Ministry of Finance in Egypt for corruption issues. I left my country because I discovered a big corruption, it's in the end of this issues, the Minister of Finance has jailed 7 years and has died there. When I came to the United States, I started my degree, which is I was starting in Egypt as a human rights doctorate. I started in University of Alexandria under individual right as a base of human rights, and I completed here after the revolution, after 2011 revolution in Egypt. I established a human rights organization under the name of Advocate for Corruption and Tyranny Victims. At this time, I have 5 offices in Egypt, 1 Alexandria, 1 Cairo, 1 Mansoura, 1 Damanhur, 1 Zakassi, after the coup, they arrested three of my members. So I suspended um, uh, the organization work in Egypt and started with this group. I hope we can do anything that I was dreaming for a long time ago. Thank you.
Saeed, I hope that your connection going to be better than that. Now we welcome our brother Dr. Abdu Al-Labban. Nice
Okay, Assalamu alaikum
meeting you.
barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Ask me, and Matt will join this very nice and elite group of academic and law people. My name is Abdul Laban. I'm a university professor. I'm interested in human rights to be established in our community and our society. And I'm glad to be with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. We are greeting Mr. Yusha Taib. We will be happy that you can introduce yourself to our brother.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. My name is Yusha Tayob. I am the Vice Amir of the Muslim Lawyers Association. We primarily operate out of Johannesburg in South Africa. We attend, I'm happy to be part of such an esteemed group of people. We are very weary of the word human rights. We concentrate on Muslim rights primarily. Where they overlap, they overlap. But shukr alhamdulillah, I have a very capable team of at least 12 lawyers on our team, and we have managed to achieve much in the country based on our post-1994 laws, which has exposed us to substantial world democracy, and we are trying to use that legislation against war criminals like CC and others, inshallah.
Wonderful. Nice meeting you all. Also, Brother Amir, he is a lawyer from Pakistan. He can give us more information about the international law. Actually, we want to make open discussion. As we know that Brother Yusha Taib, he was starting his experience to judge this military coup in Egypt, and I give all of you the chance to discuss with him about this case, and he will give us also an example about the investigation and the case from start to finish, and what happened in this case which he was going to that trial that time. What happened
Inshallah.
until now?
Inshallah.
Please.
So in 2002, the International Criminal Court invited all the countries of the world to become signatories to what is now known as the Rome Statute. Some people refer to it as the International Criminal Court Rome Statute. We have adopted it into South African legislation as the Rome Statute, and the preamble to the Act simply says that the Act is to provide for a framework to ensure the effective implementation of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court in South Africa, to ensure that South Africa conforms with its obligations set out in this statute, to provide for the crimes of genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes, and to provide for the prosecution in South African courts of persons accused of having committed the said crimes in South Africa and beyond the borders of South Africa in certain circumstances, to provide for the arrest of these persons accused of having committed the said crimes and their surrender to the said court in certain circumstances, and to provide for cooperation by South Africa with the said court, and to provide for matters connected therewith. There is a particular section regarding the jurisdiction of South African courts, and that simply says in Section 4 of the Rome Statute that despite anything to the contrary in any other law, any person who commits a crime, and here we're talking about crimes against humanity and war crimes, is guilty of an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine or imprisonment, including imprisonment for life, or such imprisonment without the option of a fine. And the crucial section is, despite any other law to the contrary, including customary and conventional law, the fact that someone is or was a head of state or government, the head is or was a head of state, a member of a government or parliament or an elected representative of government, being a member of a security service or armed force, is not a defense to the crime and is not a ground for any possible reduction of sentence. So, in the net effect of this legislation, and I might just add that resulting from the International Criminal Court warrant of arrest for Brother Umar al-Bashir, South Africa is trying to get out of the Rome Statute. It now realizes that this international instrument creates more obligations upon it to enforce international law. So they're trying to get out of it. But the net effect of the legislation is that if we identify a war criminal, as we did arising out of the Rabah massacre in August 2013, we presented evidence to our National Prosecuting Authority. This evidence shortly before Sisi was to arrive for a summit to be held in South Africa, asking our government through the prosecuting authority to arrest him upon his arrival for war crimes. So we sought the arrest at that time of Sisi as the head of the military. We also sought the arrest of the first deputy prime minister, the minister of defense, the commander-in-chief of the Egyptian armed forces, the chairman of the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces, the Supreme Command of Egyptian Armed Forces, and the Minister of Interior at the time, Mohammed Ibrahim. And this was on the basis that once we described the events at Rabah, and I'm sure you all know what happened in the Rabah massacre in August 2013, where a lot of people lost their lives, where the military, in fact, created a situation where people couldn't leave the square, where they were peacefully protesting various issues, and essentially what the military did was close them off in the square, began an attack on the square on foot and from helicopter in the sky. So people had nowhere to go. And these constitute, in terms of the definition of crime in the Rome Statute, war crimes, crimes against humanity. And we were clear in the evidence. And Alhamdulillah, at the time, there's a very strong militant Egyptian community in South Africa, particularly in Joburg and Cape Town, who provided us with actual witnesses who were victims of this crime. We have a brother who's here who lost family members, who had cousins blinded by the shooting. He himself still has shrapnel in his head as a result of what occurred at the Rabah massacre. So we had direct evidence. So as any lawyer would tell you, in the event of a crime being committed, one needs to go to an authority such as the police, and you say to the police, I have been robbed, I have been assaulted, I have been raped, and you make an affidavit and you identify, if you can, the person or persons who perpetrated the crime against you. The docket is then opened, and the police are then obliged to investigate in the hope of then prosecuting the perpetrator of the crime and hearing the evidence, cross-examining the evidence, and hopefully making a guilty finding. So the Rome Statute follows the same methodology. You go to the prosecuting authority, you lay a crime, even though the person is outside the country, you give them evidence of the crime committed. And so when the person then arrives on the shores of South Africa, the possibility of arresting him or securing his attendance in a court by other means or interviewing him about these crimes then exists. And that's what we managed to do with Sisi and the other people that I mentioned. Essentially, we looked at this in this stage that this was a war cabinet, and if we could identify the entire cabinet who made the decision to attack Rabah Square, because all these people were then complicit in the war crime against humanity. So we identified as many people as we could, and Alhamdulillah, we found out shortly before the summit that he had cancelled his trip. Now, our courts have not yet made a decision because he cancelled his trip. The urgency to arrest him no longer existed, but the docket remains open. So if he or any other military or cabinet member of parliament at the time of Rabah tries to visit the country and it comes to our attention, we will certainly persist with the warrant. That's it in a nutshell. Reading acts in an interview is very boring. But I can deal with the detail. Questions are much easier than doing a very formal address. But I'm happy to answer questions. But that, in a nutshell, is what we were able to achieve.
Yes.
And subsequently, also the Grand Emir of Egypt, University of Egypt, wanted to travel, and we were able to convince many of our religious organizations in the country not to host him. And when he did come, he was snubbed on the basis that they have allegiance to Sisi. Sisi is an oppressor, and we are doubtful about their Islam.
Very good. Just later on, you can tell us also about this formal examination before the tribunal. Just we let Mr. Dr. Abdul Mawjood Dardiri give his statement about what Mr. Yusha said.
Yeah, let me again thank the South African people, thank the Muslim Lawyers Association for the great work. I remember meeting you when I was attending the funeral of late Nelson Mandela. I strongly believe South Africans, specifically Muslims, but all South Africans, have a major role to play in helping all of us because of your journey and your struggle and the success of your journey that produced a democracy which we are lacking in most of the Muslim countries. My question to you is two questions. Number one is, will you be able to go not necessarily after Sisi himself, but after those who supported him and they're out of the government now? That's number one. Number two, can you give us a specific advice? 1, 2, 3, 4. What can Egyptians living in Europe and in the United States, based on the Rome Statute, what do they need to do to start what you did, so that we can hopefully, in one of those countries, will be able to produce similar, if not more, results? Thank you.
Sure.
Please.
Shall I respond to those now? Or
Please, yeah, you can.
First?
You can, please.
Okay. So as you would know, in order for there to be a successful prosecution, one has to have an identifiable perpetrator. It's no use for us to say a soldier who had a scar under his eye. I need to identify that soldier. I need to identify that he actually had a grenade in his hand, a knife in his hand, a gun in his hand, and I need actual evidence of a victim. Because the victim says, I have had a crime committed against me. I was protesting peacefully. I intended to leave Rabah Square. I couldn't leave Rabah Square. As a result, I was hit with rubber bullets. I was blasted by grenades. I've lost. And Mr. Ahmed Ismail is the soldier who shot me. So we need direct evidence. Even though you have the authority on command line authority, which is what we are doing at the moment, we are charging the generals who were in charge of the soldiers. If we have the soldiers and can identify who they were, and the difficulty with Rabah is that most of them were wearing helmets and masks. So that's the difficulty you have. But if you can find somebody, a soldier who's become repentant about what he did and who instructed him to do what, then we must secure that evidence. We must reduce it to writing, and we must add it to the docket. So and whether you're a retired government official or still in government doesn't matter. You're the perpetrator of a crime. There's no prescription on a crime, whether you committed a crime 30 years ago or 20 years ago. The crime was committed. You can be prosecuted for that crime, provided there's evidence against you. On the second issue, there are numerous countries who have signed the Rome Statute into their law.
Can you
So
see my
those,
face?
sorry?
Can you see my, just to follow up,
Okay.
will a videotape,
Yes?
can a videotape be considered as an evidence?
Yes, absolutely. But somebody needs to identify. So the best evidence in a videotape is the person who took the video. What were you videoing? Can you identify the victim? Can you identify the perpetrator? Can you tell us what is happening? So when we see a videotape, then the person who took the video must explain what is going on and identify what is happening. So it must be corroborated by an actual witness statement. Because when you are in court, you have to give oral evidence, and that oral evidence must be tested by cross-examination. And upon the cross-examination, the judicial officer will make a decision whether that evidence is good and on which a conviction can be based, or whether that evidence is bad and there can be no conviction. So video evidence is fine, provided we have the videoer and we have an affidavit confirming what is happening in the video.
Yeah, very good. Mr. Amir, he want to confirm or he want to ask a question?
Before we go, can I just answer the second question on the Rome Statute?
Sorry to.
Okay, so if there's any other country, and there are numerous countries who are signatories to the Rome Statute, and I assume that they've adopted it in the same form that South Africa does. So if there are people in any country whose country have adopted the Rome Statute into their law, I'm very prepared to share our docket, our information, our evidence with each of those countries and have them lodge same docket with
Very
their
great.
prosecuting authority to have these very people identified and prosecuted and arrested, inshallah.
Inshallah.
But you are also lawyer. I have one question for you, because you told about from lot of evidence or something. In international law or something, you know the evidence except in video or some camera actions, because the international law, it's not applicable to accept any video evidence or any camera evidence. That's the main
Yes,
point
no,
for now.
No, I'm only referring to South African law. I'm not an expert on any other country's law. I know a little bit about other countries' law, but I'm only talking about South Africa. So in South Africa, if you were to produce video evidence, there are certain conditions that need to be met. Like the person who videoed it must come and testify. He must do an affidavit. He must explain what is happening. He must identify. So in terms of what we seek in the Rome Statute, I indicated in the preamble that even though it's enforceable internationally, South Africa is enforcing the obligations as set out in the statute to comply with its obligations. So when I talk about video evidence being acceptable, I'm not talking about any other country other than South Africa.
It's okay.
Okay, please, Dr. Izzat, your statement or your questions.
Thank you so much for this very nice discussion and explanation for all you have done. And I would like to ask you a direct question. What do you need from the Egyptian organization to provide you to go further?
Yes, so we have substantial information and we can always add to it. So this current docket in particular refers to 4 witnesses that we were able to find in regard to direct evidence of the war crimes, crimes against humanity committed in the Rabah massacre. We can always add to this docket crimes that occurred before Rabah, crimes that occurred after Rabah. So if you have direct evidence, witnesses who are contactable by phone or email, we can, whether you prepare the statements in Egypt or whether we prepare them after talking to them, really doesn't matter. But it must be evidence by way of a written affidavit from identifiable complainants who testify to war crimes and who committed them against them.
I would like to tell that we have a chance now. We have Professor Abdul Labban. He was in Egypt and he by himself arrested. He was in prison also for a couple of months, and he was working in the Minya governorate. And I think he has a lot to say and to do. And I think he will have a materialized things he can tell. I hope that
He
Dr. Abdul
was
Labban
suffering and he can give us an example what happened to him in Egypt and what we can do.
Yes, please, Dr. Abdul.
Dr.
Yeah.
Abdul Laban.
Okay, thank you so much. Concerning the period starting from August 14 at the day of Rab'a Square, and there was no Rab'a in Egypt. There's a lot of Rab'a and the Nahda Square, and a lot of similar states along all the governorate.
You
Egypt,
are
Kenya.
personally were in Rab'a Square,
No.
Dr. Laban?
No,
Okay.
I was in Egypt at that time because I was the director of the University Hospital at that time. In the area from August 14 till around August 19, I received around 80 persons murdered in this prosecution. Around these 80 killed person, most of them were shot. And I started to put them in the refrigerator of the hospital, and the hospital got full. And at that time, I opened two hospitals. I opened the refrigerator of the two other hospitals, the cardiothoracic surgery hospital and the child and the maternity hospital and the urinary urology surgery hospital, and all the refrigerators of these were full. What astonished me at the day of August 14, a day of Rab'a morning, I was faced by one man around 30-something was shot in his abdomen, and I direct all the doctor at that time to take him up to the theater to operate him. And when they operate him, they take a lot of his stomach, of his gut and spleen and liver, and after that he died.
Just moment, Dr. Abdu. You can go little bit farther from the camera. You little bit go back that we can
time,
see your...
his family came to me. They told me our brother died after the surgery from the shooting. Okay, you can go right now to the police office to report that and make a report about this. They told me that all the military, the police office withdrew from the hospital at that before one night before, and direct them to the official center for the police at the governorate. They let over there. They refused to do an official report about his death, and most of the 80% did not report it about that, and most of them had no documentation. They were shooted. They were killed by the police at that time, and then it's gone. This was so stressful for me that these people were killed and come to the hospital. The refrigerator was full, and they gone and buried without any rights. This was so surprising for me at that time.
Yes. Okay, I think he has little problem. Dr. Laban, you hear us? Okay, we have little problem with Dr. Abdu. We can go to the Dr. Saeed. Just tell us about the situation in America and what's your statement about what Mr. Yusha have said.
First of all, I want to speak about the situation in the United States. I am personally was a director of a big case against Kuwait, which is related to the 21 Egyptian who's working Kuwait and tortured because they started to make an organization before the revolution. They arrested and tortured and deported to Egypt. I started, a civil case against Kuwait here, but unfortunately, in the last step of this case, I found, I think Dr. Dardiri had this issue, this letter from Department of State here to ask the judge to give the Amir, Kuwait Amir, immunity. And this is, we stopped and we lost the case. About Brother Yusha saying, I want to suggest 2 points. The first point about Dr. Muhammad al-Baradi, he's in Vienna now, and the Brother Muhammad Aswani can contact him to give him a statement in this court, in South Africa court. Maybe he can help the situation. And the second, which is question for Brother, this any way to, to the Egyptian government can ask for immunity about this, especially in the government like Sisi or anybody else is in government now?
Yes.
All right. Yes. So look, whatever you have in the form of statements, I'm happy for you to be emailed to me. I'm happy to give my email address to whoever, or I can be contacted via the directors of this program. Send the statements. We will look at them, we will assess them, and if they are helpful in any way, we will utilize them, provided the people commit to cooperating with our investigative authorities. So when you ask me, Egyptians all over the world, how can we assist? Get statements. Anybody who can give me a statement of what happened, we will utilize that evidence, inshallah, to our best advantage. So I hope that answers the first question. Gather statements, as many as you can, from as many people who can give us any evidence whatsoever. We will scrutinize what we can use, what we can't use, and then we will prepare the affidavit for signature. Then I said earlier that there is to be a head of state or government or member of government or parliament elected representative or government official is not a defense. It's not a defense, because when one looks at the Rome Statute issued by the International Criminal Court, the thinking behind it, whatever else the intention, whatever the thinking behind it, was that the perpetrators of war crimes and genocide and crimes against humanity are more often than not heads of state. If we look all over the world, the US is commanding the killing of Muslims all over the world. And surprisingly, the US is not a signatory to the Rome Statute for very obvious reasons. Israel is not a signatory to the Rome Statute. Saudi Arabia is not a signatory to the Rome. So the thinking behind this is that these crimes will be committed by heads of state or by people who are in high positions in government who have control over military or military power. So the idea that Sisi was the head of state at the time when we brought this application was not a bar to him being arrested, because the Act specifically says you cannot use that as a defense.
Just we would like to know, Mr. Yusha, if General Sisi going to fly to South of Africa, do you think the court going to stop him there to investigate him, or this not possible?
My brother, if we look at the Act itself, and it talks about crimes against humanity, war crimes, then on strict legal principle, we are 100% correct. But we've got to do battle with other fields. We've got to do battle with politics. We've got to do battle with economics. So very recently, we hosted the BRICS summit in South Africa. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, as for South, BRICS. And we brought an application to have Modi arrested. But unfortunately, part of the Muslim community in our country supported the fact that Modi will bring economic investment to the country. And so this became difficult, and we were doing battle not only against our own government, but against our own Muslim community. We have had some success. So we managed to stop Sisi. We managed with a warrant to stop a labor minister from Israel by the name of Tzipi Livni, who cancelled her trip to South Africa some years ago. We brought similar warrants for Putin, Jinping, and Obama when they traveled to this country. And largely, the issues, I mean, all the names I mentioned to you, all the names I'm mentioning now, your listeners will know are war criminals, are people who have committed crimes against humanity. There's no doubt. Putin is guilty of it. Jinping is guilty of it. Modi is guilty of it. Sisi is guilty. These are all war criminals. And we must do what we can. We all know what their punishment will be by Allah's standard. But we continue to bring these applications and hopefully, if pure law applies, we must be successful.
Yes, right.
If you take away politics, if you take away economics, and you judge this matter purely on law, the crimes they have committed are there for all to see. And if this legislation is properly implemented, then they should be arrested when they arrive in South Africa. So the intention, brother, is that I remain hopeful that the warrants will be issued. These are open investigations, and by any standard, they must be arrested. So we will continue to try and convince our prosecuting authority to do the right thing. I can't guarantee an arrest, but I cannot guarantee no arrest. We remain hopeful that we have presented sufficient evidence in this docket that these Egyptian military generals, including Sisi and members of his government, are war criminals.
Okay, we can. You can say
I will tell you
something.
Thank you very much about that. And the now is very bad condition from Kashmir issue. Already Modi have to so many militant there, groups, killings, abusing, and the rapes, so lot of the Muslim
The same
Ummah-
similarity
Same.
like which happened in Egypt.
Yes, it's true. Now is the condition, and the Kashmir are alone. UNO also quite nobody going to the international courts, and the abusing the military of India. And my question is, because all peoples here from America or something, to all my groups here, why not United Nations take against action for this military? Why not against action with Modi already? Because only for the power of economic, India has already support to Israel, already America support to India. That's the main point. The Muslim Ummah there are killing. And my point is, how can we stop that? Last 20 days, last 20 days, the situation is in their curfew, no lights, no eating foods, the children so are very sick, and no hospitalized, any cost, nothing do that. And no people's, nothing, media already quiet. And my question is, why not they stop the killing? Where is humanity? Where is peace? All the world called the peace. And last also in Egypt, how many killings there in Rabah? And why not the international court against action for that the now still position president? That's all the peoples here sitting to discussion today. International court also quiet, United Nations also quiet, because they are innocent peoples in Rabah also killing, also in Kashmir. And must we all are discussion about that today from Rabah position, and also look like same Kashmir. And what can we do now? Because they all peoples here sitting to lawyers, also international peoples. What do you think about that? How can we stop?
How can we go to that trial and will be effective? Yes. Yes, brother Yusha, what's your answer? What can we do? We are more than 20 human rights organizations in Europe, and they are looking for possibility to go to trial. What can we do exactly?
I'm sorry, my brother, it went all watery sound for a long time. I only heard you say, what can we do exactly? I didn't hear anything. I just heard a waterfall for about a minute.
Okay, you can tell.
Okay. My question is, because can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, so my question is, now the condition is same before Rabah, so many innocent peoples killing there, and international community already quiet. You have a lot of proofs, you have a lot of evidence for video, pictures. Why not United Nation take against action for this military group? And now condition is in India already going to the Kashmir issue, so lot of innocent peoples, children's families are killing there, the rape, or so lot of abusing
Transfer population.
population, so problem for already last 20 days in curfew there, and the military also open killing the children's, have to abusing innocent people's killing there lot of, and no media, nothing people's against action to India or stop that. My question is, how can we stop that, and why media is quiet?
Okay, so, hello, can you hear me? Yes. So the issue really is we did bring what is called a Modi docket, and we were being ably assisted by a South African with Pakistani connections in the form of the South African Kashmiri Action Group, and he gave us the testimonies of two witnesses to the violence committed by the Indian Army around 2 3 years ago. And when our National Prosecuting Authority then requested to interview them, they suddenly became unavailable. They became fearful for their lives. The lawyer who was supposed to facilitate the Skype interview with these people all disappeared. So we were slightly embarrassed in our attempt to get the Modi docket. And in fact, I recently received a letter from the NDPP saying, "What's going on? We're waiting for you." So if you can get me witnesses, people willing to testify, people willing to give the evidence, then we certainly, like I said earlier with the Egyptians, as many statements as you can possibly give us, we will utilize what we can and present it to our government for as long as the Rome Statute remains alive in our law, in our country. We will use it to our advantage. On the second issue, I don't mean to sound demeaning, but if you have any hope whatsoever that the UN is a body of any credibility, then you are fooled completely. It has no power whatsoever. It is governed by people who have an anti-Muslim agenda. What I'm about to say is not completely in line with my lawfare tactics. I personally, and I must say to you, I've had this conversation with you for about an hour now, and we've talked about utilizing dockets and making complaints to the ICC. But I also think there is now time for the Ummah to understand what is jihad, because there is no country in the world where Muslims are not being persecuted in one form or the other. The continuous rape of our people, the continuous blinding by shooting with pellets, the continuous murders, continuous harassment at airports in the West, wearing hijab being banned. This is a complete attack on Islam. And I think my answer is that while we continue to utilize the means we have, because we are taught in the hadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to use our expertise. I qualify as a lawyer, I use the law. The brother is a doctor, he uses his facilities, his capabilities to save people's lives. We all have capacity. But I genuinely believe that the time for discussion is over. I think as an ummah, we need to get out there that the physical jihad has become compulsory. The Quranic verse is, once you are evicted from your home, then you must fight back. You can take any, and how many Muslims have now been evicted from their homes? The time is now. We need to start gathering now and start preparing ourselves for the ultimate, because this harassment is continuous and it's not going to stop. It's only going to get worse. If we look at the methodology, insofar as the revoking of the resolution in India is concerned regarding Kashmir's independence, just look back slightly. Who did Modi meet with in the last 6 months? Trump, Netanyahu. What is the methodology being adopted in Kashmir? Look at Israel occupied Palestine. Same methodology. This is become a method. This has become their means, and we need to wake up as an ummah. I don't mean, and I say it with all due respect, I don't mean to be demeaning, but if you're looking at enforcing Geneva Conventions, Rome statutes, or recognizing that the UN will do something, I think we're fooling ourselves.
This politic opinion, but we need to go further to the direction, to the trial, how we could, as we know, Dr. Dr. Laban, Abdul Laban, he was one who suffering under the Egyptian regime. What's the next step which would you like to do, Dr. Laban? Just you will tell us a political speech, or there is another way to go to judge such people, such regimes?
I think Mr. Yusha talked about that the correction of evidence. Evidence is very crucial in a setup of a court, a trial to the court. I mentioned that I collect more than an 80 murdered person in my hospital refrigerators. Or some young generation, young doctors told me that a lot of victims, a lot of injured, a lot of dead bodies in the corniche of Elmenia. We need to hold the ambulance over there to collect them. They left with the ambulance, and the ambulance shot by the military soldiers. And the ambulance, and they arrested the two doctors and the ambulance assistant, and they arrest them, and after a while and some communication, they release them. So there's a lot of crime. That's why my question to Mr. Yusha, what are the criteria of the evidence that will be fulfill the requirement to start a trial for these people?
Okay. So what you need to do is you need to write out a statement, please, in chronological sequence of what happened. So if I can just give you an example. I woke up in the morning, I made my wudu, I made the attempt to go for Fajr, I went for Fajr, I returned home, I had a breakfast, I had a shower, I went to work, I did 20 things at work, I had lunch, I made my door. As detailed as possible. Whatever you saw. So if you saw a patient, what wounds did the patient suffer? Was it a rubber bullet to the head? Was it live ammunition to the lung? As much information, as much detail as you can give us, date, time, place, identify the victim, identify the medical condition, identify what the possible causes of the injury were, identify the reason for death, the cause of death. As much detail as you can. So, for instance, like we have in the current affidavit, the particular complainant was in South Africa. He went to visit his family in Egypt. When he went to visit his family in Egypt, he found out that some of them were protesting at Rabat. So on the night of the 13th of August, he went to visit his friends, and they said they were protesting. They were doing what they were living in tents. They were living on the street. They were protesting the coup. He was then woken up very early in the morning when the people realized the military are blocking the square. Helicopters were flying overhead. He then witnessed a number of things. He heard gunfire, he heard fire from helicopters, he saw grenades dropping, he saw people being shot with rubber bullets, he saw people being shot with live evidence. Now, he was a witness. There is direct evidence. So he gave us that evidence, and with that evidence, we lodged the docket with the NDPP. They opened the docket. The minute they opened the docket, the prospect of arresting Sisi on his arrival within that next week was real, and he cancelled his trip, because we were pushing for the arrest warrant. Then what happened is our Department of International Relations and Cooperation notified the prosecuting authority that Sisi was no longer coming. They notified us of that position and said, we will no longer deal with this docket because he is no longer arriving. We don't need to issue the warrant for his arrest. And that's what happened. And so if he were to try to come again, this docket is open. But if I have more evidence, I can beef up this docket. So if, for instance, Allah forbid it happens to any of us, but if we have a robbery, on the day of the robbery, somebody comes to you and says, no, I saw the black Mercedes coming to your driveway. We will get that evidence. 2 weeks later, somebody will come and give the example, no, I saw that black Mercedes at your house 2 weeks before. I know the man who was... So you add that. You keep adding the evidence to the docket. The more evidence you have, the more corroboration you have, the easier the story becomes in order to prosecute. So now you have 2 witnesses. Doctor, you have indicated... And we also have a Gaza docket. Now, with Gaza, the difficulty in going to get statements during cast-led was getting into the country because it was impossible to cross Rafah. So what had happened was a number of doctors from Egypt were treating victims from Gaza. And one of the issues that we utilized was the usage of white phosphorus. That people were being shot with white phosphorus to the extent that they were burning and burning and burning from the inside. Now, the usage of white phosphorus from the Geneva Conventions to other pieces of legislation is not to be used as a weapon. And so we got evidence that it was being used as a weapon. And we got it from one doctor initially, then 6 doctors deposed to affidavits about white phosphorus being used as a weapon. So all of that didn't come at one go. We got the evidence, we kept on searching for more. So this conversation, alhamdulillah, has opened me up to you for you to give me your statement together with the other doctors and the ambulance driver to write out written statements. And what you can do is write them out in your language. And what we will do is we will make arrangements for it to be translated. Or you can write it in English and we will fix it up in the affidavit format, bring it to you for signature, sign it at the South African Embassy wherever you are, return it to us by courier, and we will add it to the docket. So it becomes more and more confirmation of what Sisi and his oppressors did at Rabat Square. So the more evidence we have, the better.
Okay, very good. Just let us, we get a minute, a pause, and we will come back.
Break, yeah.
Break, yes.
Octo is so important because it is part of a noble tradition, being there in community, covering the community, giving voice to the community, opening the microphones for people to speak for themselves.
Schauen wir mal rein bei Okto im 14. Wer sich ein alternatives Kellerlokal mit Clou am Gang vorgestellt hat, der wird jetzt enttäuscht. Da schaut ja alles hochprofessionell aus. Aha, und da sind die Mitarbeiterinnen. Attraktive, patente Leute durch die Bank, wie man sieht. Rund 1000 engagierte Menschen haben hier in den letzten 10 Jahren eigene Sendungen gestaltet.
Hallo, kennen Sie Okto?
Ja. Okto?
Ja.
Kennt ihr den Sender Okto?
Ja.
Was, Okto? Ja, ja, klar.
Hundreds of thousands of peaceful protesters at Rabat Square, Cairo, ending their 6th week of their sit-in protest, asking for the retrieval of democracy after the military coup and the ousting of the first elected civilian president prior to a renowned civil revolution in January 25th, 2011. At the outer limits of Rabat Square, thousands of police troops, backed with armored vehicles, bulldozers, and helicopters, charged to turn the square into a barbaric killing scene. 10 hours of ceaseless fire, a murder every 20 seconds. Elders, youngsters, women, and more than 30 infants. They were killed in cold blood. Amnesty International marked it Egypt's darkest day, while Human Rights Watch stated that it was the largest mass killings against protesters in modern history, committed in a single day, considered fit to raise the status of a crime against humanity. 868 documented killings, Tens are missing, and tens were buried undocumented. Thousands are injured, and thousands are detained. 4 days later, in an official deportation vehicle, 37 of the detained protesters were killed in less than an hour, and 200 more were killed later due to torture and poor medical care. To this very moment, Rabah massacre didn't cease, despite the fact that 2 years have passed. There have been no serious efforts to retrieve the rights of the victims, dead, injured, or detained, and no investigation was held to bring those responsible of the crime to justice.
Remember Rabah.
أعزائي المشاهدين، عدنا إليكم مرة أخرى. Meine Damen und Herren, herzlich willkommen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We have to go to the conclusion. We talk about what really going to be happening this coming month, and your opinion, Mr. Amir, as a lawyer for international law, and also Dr. Izzat and Dr. Abdul Mawjood Dardiri. Please.
Thank you very much for me. And I have some suggestion or my opinion for Article 31A of the 1946 State of the International Court of Justice and Compromise investigation. This is article for the investigation. Last Rabah case, nobody investigation for there, and also hear from the lawyer told about from the history for investigation reporting for the media. But Article 38(1) 1946, they have to write, you must go to the international court and open investigation to look like this military cases. Now this case for action for the police to use for the helicopters to killing to the peoples, so lot of firing or something for damages. Is this my opinion must go to an international court to apply or one petition in there from Rabah case. It's no problem for last 4 years and 5 years, so many lawyers going to the courts, South Africa courts or something, but international courts give you a permission. You have submit the case as a petition for the last 5 years, this killings or some abusing or something, for so lot of damages there. This case going to the damages petition, and if you are submit for an international court this case, then they must give you a justice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Dr. Abdul Mawjood Dardiri, your statement and your conclusion about what Mr. Yusha said.
Yeah, I am, again, I repeat my happiness that I listened to all of you, especially Mr. Yusha and Dr. Abdu. I really would like to emphasize the following. Number one, we're here trying to seek legal avenues, and we really need to learn from the South African experience. As a politician, by no means I am calling for counter-violence. I believe in peaceful means. We have to confront those dictators through peaceful means to be able to bring peace and justice and freedom and democracy to our countries. And my humble advice to Egyptians, Kashmiris, Palestinians, anyone living in European countries or the United States of America is to open up to the larger society. There are lots of good civic organizations that they do not understand what is going on in the Muslim world or the Arab world. And I think the more we educate them, they will be able to be part of the solution. I believe we have a strong case.
This means we have to knock the doors of the court around the world without stopping, and we must continue go to this way.
I strongly believe we have to try all possible legal avenues through peaceful means to be able to bring alternatives to what's happening in different parts of the world.
Dr. Abdu, what's your statement, please?
I confirm what Dr. Abdul Mawud said, that we have to make some sort of awareness to the society. Will be a supportive power force for us, and to knock all the legal ways and legal doors, especially the courts, to raise our cases.
Dr. Azzat?
First of all, I would like to thank all of you, actually, and special thanks for our brother Yusha, that he lighted out the good route and the right route to go further. And also, I can put 3 points very fast. The first point, that we have to collect more evidence, and more evidence, especially the medical evidences, since we have Professor Dr. Al-Labban, and he has a lot of things, and we can just ask him to collect the evidences from his colleague and his students and his friends. This first of all, and the second thing is to collect the whole Egyptian and the non-Egyptian association working in human rights. And the third thing is that to use the international reports like Human Rights Watch and also Amnesty reports annual, because the last 2 annual reports really deserve and helping very much, because they were very strong, dramatically increasing the condemn of this system. These 3 points, in addition to, I hope that we can make a conference, international conference, collecting all these things, and afterwards we can just make a huge or a big association collecting all these human rights association in one, like our brother Yusha says, that we have to start as a ummah, and we have to start from here. The civilization organization can do a lot, since we don't have any hope actually in any Muslim, between to practice Muslim governments at all. Most of them, if not all of them, against us. As you say, what the Emirat government has made with Modi, he killing our people in Kashmir, and he give him a very, very highly price, you can say, I don't know. So please, we have to think about the international conference, gathering all these things and all this effort, and make a conclusion and start immediately and push again and help our brother Yusha to go further and provide him with a lot of evidences. And thank you for all.
Your last word, Mr. Yusha, how we could support you in your case, and what's your advice to the all human rights organization which working in some Arabic worlds and in Europe, and our people whom really want to go to trial against this Sisi regime?
Jay, I think I've made it quite clear through the conversation that the more evidence we can get that corroborates what we are alleging, the better for us. There are a number of countries that have the Rome Statute. They need to contact us to implement that statute in order to continue with the lawfare. We will continue to do whatever we can within our capabilities. The more evidence we have, the more we can try and do. That can be circulated to me. I'm happy to share my email. I'm happy for the producers of this program to share my cell phone number, to get me the information. Otherwise, we are contactable at mlajhb.com. You can send that. That's our website. But I'm available. My email address is available. I'm accessible. I'll make it easy for those who are fighting this cause in whatever way. There are those who are putting their lives on the line. There are those who are doctors. There are those who are lawyers. There are those who are engineers. Allah make us a means to free the Ummah from this oppression and this persecution. Allah make it easy for all on this group to continue to do what they're doing. And Allah keep our hearts firm on the deen. Allah keep our feet firmly planted on the deen. Allah make it easy for all of us, and Allah grant us victory, inshallah.
We thank you so much, brother Mr. Yusha Taib. Thank you for this good, nice meeting with
Shukran to
you.
you and your organizers and your team and all my co-panelists. Allah keep us all safe, inshallah.
Thank you so much. We hope we meet soon again. Dr. Abdul Mawjood, just your last word and your last statement and your advice for us.
Yes, I would really, from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank you, thank all the people around you, thank you for the work of the legal work that you're trying to do. We all need to march towards freedom, justice, and the rule of law. We need to protect our human rights, not just Muslim human rights, but all human rights of all human beings. I believe we have a long way in front of us, and this is a great beginning. Let us, as others suggested, we get united, inshallah, that we get united in fighting against oppression, and it is the highest level of faith is to stand up against tyrants, and we have so many of them in the world today, and we have a great job. This is an honor to be part of this journey. Let us try to do the best we can to move forward towards establishing justice, human rights, and rule of law. Thank you.
Very great. For sure, we will keep contacting Brother Yusha in the coming days. Would you like to say something before the ending?
I'm again, thank you very much, my brother, my beloved brother Yusha Taib, what you have done before, and I think you have lighted our route to go further. And I'm thanking all of you, really, and here in the channel, and also Professor Dr. Dardiri, Professor Dr. my brother, Professor Dr. Al-Labban, and Professor Dr. Saeed Afifi, all of you. And we like to work like that, and we have hope because Allah Ta'ala have promised us we will be united Ummah again, and I'm sure that we will have.
Mr. Amir.
Thank you very much to all who is here, to my seniors, lawyers, or international community peoples. I have one message for now. We need to united about the Kashmir issue. Still position is very danger. If we are not stopped, if we are not united, it's mean we are failed. We are not helping to our brothers and sisters. The Kashmir is now crying, and Kashmir need to help for our Muslim Ummah. I please only for request to all Muslim Ummah stand up with Pakistan, because Pakistan alone country who is fighting this war, and Muslim Ummah first.
I hope that we can find solution soon
inshallah,
as possible.
Inshallah, as soon as possible.
I thank you all, my dears, for this nice topic, and let us to continue now in Arabic language. We thank so much Brother Yusha in South of Africa. God bless you. نعود مرة أخرى. نحن يعني استمر الحوار باللغة الإنجليزية، وفي الحقيقة نحن لا نتحدث اللغة الإنجليزية في بلد مثل النمسا، نتحدث اللغة الألمانية، ولكن يعني حاولنا بقدر الإمكان نتحاور مع الإخوة، لأنه منذ زمن طويل لم نتحدث باللغة الإنجليزية. أحد الناشطين الأستاذ مروان البكري من الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، هو أحد أعضاء الحراك القانوني ضد الأنظمة الدكتاتورية، بيقول حول المقارنة بين ملف الرئيس مرسي على سبيل المثال والرئيس الحريري، إن التحالفات والتوازنات تختلف كثيرا بين قضيتي الحريري ومرسي. رفيق الحريري كان رجل آل سعود وأمريكا، واتهم بقتله نظام بشار الأسد وحزب الله، فكان لأمريكا الدوافع السياسية لملاحقة قتلة الحريري. أما في الأمر الذي يخص الرئيس مرسي لم يحركه ساكن. ما هو تعليقك على هذا أستاذ توفيق الحميدي، ونستكمل حوارنا في الشأن اليمني؟
هو في حقيقة الأمر لا يمكن أن نفصل القضايا الحقوقية بالقضايا السياسية، هي عمليات متداخلة، بل نحن لا نكون مجافين للحقيقة إذا قلنا دائما أن اليد السياسية هي التي تنتصر في تمييع كثير من القضايا الحقوقية. من خلال تجربتنا في مجال حقوق الإنسان على سبيل المثال، تكون هنالك مجموعة من القرارات المتعلقة مثلا في الشأن اليمني إلى اللحظات الأخيرة هنالك غرف مغلقة، هنالك مصالح اقتصادية، هنالك أيضا قضايا سياسية، هنالك حوارات تدار من الخلف، وبالتالي دائما تخرج مثل هذه القرارات
وتضيع حقوق الناس.
تظهر هذه القرارات توافقية على حساب الدماء والحقوق والانتهاكات. وبالتالي اليوم النضال الحقوقي هو ليس نضالا هامشيا، هذا يجب أن ندركه جيدا، وإنما هو نضال يصب أو في عمق العملية السياسية. ما لا يمكن تشكيل جبهة حقوقية متضامنة مع فريق إعلامي وسياسي وشعبي عريض ليقف في وجه هذه السياسة، سنجد أن الحقوقيون يعني صرخاتهم تذهب في الهباء. نعم هنالك قضاء وهنالك طرق قد نسلكها، لكن أيضا مثل هذه القضايا يجب أن تدرس في سياقها التاريخي وفي سياقها السياسي. نحن في حقيقة أمام معركة لا يمكن أن نستهان بها. حتى المؤسسات اليوم الأممية والمؤسسات الحقوقية أيضا متأثرة بالجانب السياسي. واليوم
لماذا حتى الآن يعني هذه الجرائم في المنطقة العربية، في اليمن، في مصر، في سوريا، يعني تجاوزنا 5 سنوات الآن، والقاصي والداني يرى هذه الجرائم، وحتى الآن أصحاب القضية اللي هو الشعوب لم يحرك لهم ساكن أنهم يذهبوا إلى القضاء. لماذا نحن بنؤجل طرق أبواب القضاء؟
أنا أعتقد هنالك مجموعة من القضايا، وهذه قضايا في غاية الأهمية. القضية الأولى داخلية، وهي متعلقة بعملية الرصد وعملية التوثيق وعملية جمع البيانات وجمع الأدلة، وأحيانا الذين في الميدان ينقصهم الكثير من الخبرة والكثير من الأدوات القانونية والفنية في رصد مثل هذه الانتهاكات. إضافة إلى جانب الخوف، كثير من الضحايا لا يريد أن يذهب بعيدا. نحن في اليمن على سبيل المثال نتواصل مع ضحايا كانوا في السجون، تعرضوا للتعذيب، فجرت بيوتهم إلى غير ذلك، ومع ذلك لا يستطيع أن يذهب معك بعيدا لأنه لا يجد الحماية الداخلية لمثل هذا الأمر. هذه النقطة الأولى. النقطة الثانية أن كثير من مناصري حقوق الإنسان في اليمن والذين في الخارج جهودهم مشتتة. إلى اليوم لا توجد جبهة حقوقية أو قانونية مهتمة بالوقوف ضد الاستبداد وانتهاك حقوق الإنسان في الوطن العربي على سبيل المثال، قادرة أن تجمع جهودها وشتاتها وناشطيها في كل المجالات.
إذا ما هو سبيلنا إلى الوصول لهذه النقطة التي
أنا أعتقد اليوم أصبح اليوم بما أن الربيع العربي كان هو الجامع للشعوب العربية من اليمن ومصر وليبيا وتونس وسوريا إلى كل مكان، وقضايا حقوق الإنسان اليوم التي نشاهدها بهذه الفظاعة
إذن نحن في حاجة إلى حراك قانوني يجمعنا جميعا.
أنا أعتقد نجاحنا في إيجاد صيغة أو لافتة حقوقية في الخارج قادرة على إحداث هزة وتغيير جزء من موازين القوى سيدفع الكثير من المستبدين لمراجعة آرائهم. نحن لدينا تجربة على سبيل المثال في قضايا السجون السرية في اليمن، عندما أخرجناها إلى العلن وأصبحت
أصبحت فضيحة
وأصبحت ملف بيد المحققين الأمميين، أفرج عن الكثير من هؤلاء.
اللي هم كانوا
وحاولت دولة الإمارات أن تتنصل من هذه السجون، مرة بالادعاء بأنه ليس تحت سيطرتها، ومرة بدفع الحكومة اليمنية لتتبنى مثل هذه السجون. لكن كل التقارير الدولية اليوم التي صدرت في هذا الشأن تتهم نظام الإمارات بشكل مباشر، وهذه خطوة في الذهاب نحو أي قضاء محلي ذو اختصاص دولي. إذا توحيد الجبهة الخارجية سيعطي قوة للجبهة الخارجية. أنا أعتقد الحراك القانوني والنضال القانوني أشد مراسا من الصراع السياسي، وربما لا يمكن أن نعيد القضايا والحقوق السياسية ما لم ننجح على المستوى الحقوقي.
إذن المستوى الحقوقي لابد من طرق أبواب المحاكم ذات الولاية الشاملة أو العالمية في أوروبا، في لاهاي، نعم. في كل الدول التي تسمح بذلك. ما هو تعقيبك يا دكتور عبد الموجود حول رؤية شاملة؟ الأستاذ علاء عبد المنصف وهو حقوقي مصري كان كتب مقالة هامة جدا نحو تعامل قانوني دولي مع قضية الرئيس مرسي. وكما نعلم أنه التعذيب والإخفاء القسري يعد من جرائم الحرب. فالأستاذ علاء عبد المنصف يقول أنه ليس لدينا ملف قانوني مكتمل نستطيع بحق رفعه أو دفعه أمام القضاء. ما رأيك يا دكتور عبد الموجود؟
يعني ربما ما قاله صحيح، ولا أريد أن ألوم الحقوقيين والمنظمات الحقوقية نظرا للصدمة الانقلاب التي حدثت. عدم استعداد كثير من الحقوقيين المصريين يتعاملوا مع الملف من منظور دولي. ثانيا الخروج من مصر تم بصورة عفوية، أعطى يعني يحتاج البعض وقت، لكن بعد مرور 6 سنين الآن أرى ضروري توحد الجهود القانونية، ضروري تنسيق، إن لم يكن هناك توحد كامل بحيث تصبح جبهة عريضة لتدافع عن حقوق المظلومين جميعا، سواء كانوا منهم المعتقلين الآن أو المظلومين. في مصر الآن أصبحت سجن كبير، هناك من داخل السجن الحقيقي، لكن كل أبناء مصر يعانون، أو الكثير معظم أبناء مصر يعانون من السجن الكبير. في ظن المنظمات الحقوقية إن لم تتحد عليها أن تنسق جهودها، وأنا حقيقة أحيي كل مجهود يقوموا به، وعليهم أن يساعدوا بعض، لا يتنافسوا تنافس سلبي بل يتنافسوا تنافس إيجابي، لأن نجاح قضية في أي مكان ولو كانت في جنوب أفريقيا ستخدمنا في أي مكان في أوروبا أو في الولايات المتحدة. أنا فقط لو تسمح لي أريد أن أركب على معنى الأستاذ توفيق وضحه الأول. القضية الحقوقية من الأهمية بمكان، رغم أهميتها وقوتها وسمو شأنها، إلا أنه لا يجب أن ننسى أنها عرض لمرض حقيقي، والمرض الحقيقي هو التغول والديكتاتورية السياسية. لولا الانقلاب لم تكن هناك عندنا مجازر رابعة وأخواتها. فلذلك القضية السياسية وهي قضية حقوقية في نفس الوقت، يعني من حقوق الإنسان أن يعيش في مجال سياسي حر وأن يستطيع أن يحاسب مسؤوليه. مهم جدا أن نتابع الملفين، الملف الحقوقي والملف السياسي، حتى نستطيع نحقق، لأن كل ما نريده ونريد في النهاية تحقيق العدالة عن طريق الديمقراطية.
بالضبط، لأنه أس الفساد هو الاستبداد. دكتور عبده، ما هي النصيحة في نهاية حديثنا التي تقدمها لكل العاملين في الحقل الحقوقي، وماذا ينبغي علينا كشعب وأمة متضررة من تلك الدكتاتوريات والاستبداد علينا أن نفعله؟ ماذا ينبغي علينا فعله في المرحلة القادمة؟
أنا بشكرك أستاذ محمد شكرا جزيلا أولا على المجهود اللي بتعمله حضرتك والدكتور عزت والدكتور موجود والزملاء الأفاضل اللي أنا أشرف بكون موجود في وسطكم.
عفوا.
لكن اللي يهمني بالدرجة الأولى ماذا بعد؟ وماذا بعد ينبني على عنصر أساسي جدا وكبير وهو التوثيق. من 2013 إلى 2019 مر 6 سنوات، وهناك العديد من التجمعات والجمعيات العامة بتشتغل لكن هل التوثيق موافي للمتطلبات الدولية اللي يكفي إلى أنه لما ترفع به دعوة تكتمل ولا يمكن يترفض؟ وده اللي سألته الأستاذ يوشع، مواصفات التوثيق شكلها إيه؟ أتمنى أن من خلال التجمع الحراك القانوني اللي موجود يكون هناك لجنة لمواصفات التوثيق وتجميع الداتا. في داتا أنا واثق إنها متجمعة بشكل كبير جدا
صحيح.
عند التجمعات اللي موجودة، لكن يكون هناك لجنة على مستوى الخبراء تجمع هذه الداتا اللي موجودة وتعملها نوع من أنواع الفيريفيكيشن للمهمة الغير مكتمل يكتمل، والمكتمل يتحط في ملف يكون الرو ماتيريال يترفع بها دعوة. ده نمرة واحد. نمرة اثنين، يكون ماذا بعد يكون هناك لجنة من الخبراء لاتخاذ أكشن. فاحنا محتاجين خلاص جنوب أفريقيا فيها حاجة، لو في دولة تانية ودولة ثالثة وخرج لنا منتج وإن كان منتج واحد هيدي بارقة أمل في هذا المجال. التوثيق للأخ الأستاذ حميد يعني ذكر مثال جميل جدا بتاع عدن والسجون السرية في عدن. خد المعلومة دي يا أستاذ حميد، إن يوم 21 سبتمبر 2014 كنت أنا المدير الطبي لمستشفيات جامعة علوم والتكنولوجيا في اليمن. وصل لي داخل المستشفى في هذا اليوم عدد جرحى وشهداء من الشعب اليمني في اجتياح صنعاء من عمران على يد الحوثيين، عدد 160 ما بين جريح وشهيد.
وأنت شاهد على هذا الواقع يا دكتور.
أنا كنت المدير الطبي لمستشفى جامعة علوم والتكنولوجيا. وصلنا في وحدة الطوارئ عندي في المستشفى 160 ما بين جثة وجريح. أين
سجل
التوثيق؟
عندك أستاذ توفيق.
الصوت واضح كده؟
نعم. اتفضل يا دكتور.
توثيق موضوع اليمن وصلهم 160. فالتوثيق في منتهى الأهمية، ولكن لابد أن يكون بالمواصفات المطلوبة لأن ينبني عليها شيء. وأنا بشكرك جزيلا وربنا يبارك فيك.
الله يحفظك. طبعا يعني ما هو تعليقك على رفض الجنائية الدولية قبول النظر في الشكاوى المقدمة لفتح تحقيق في جرائم السيسي ونظامه، وده كان بتاريخ 2015؟ هل لما بيتم رفض قبول دعوة هل علينا أن نحاول مرة أخرى
طبعا
ومرات عديدة؟
الرفض لن يكون إلا مسببا. أكيد سيكون هنالك رفض مبني على مجموعة من الأسباب القانونية التي ستورد في عريضة الرفض.
نعم.
وبالتالي على المحامين والحقوقيين الذين تقدموا بمثل هذا الطلب مراجعة الأسباب التي أدت لرفض هذا الدعوة. أنا حقيقة التقيت بإحدى القاضيات الأردنية اللي كانت في محكمة رواندا، وذكرت نفس الإشكالية، إلى أنه كثير من القضايا العادلة العربية تفقد قيمتها عند إعداد الملفات لأنها لا تعد بطريقة
غير مستوفاة.
نعم، بهذا الشكل.
الشروط القانونية.
وبالتالي لجنة خبراء تقوم بإعداد ملفات والتأكد من استيفائها للشروط القانونية وفقا للمعايير الدولية. أنا أعتقد أنه هو اللبنة الأولى والخطوة الأولى في طريق العدالة الجنائية ضد كل منتهكي حقوق الإنسان.
ولا سيما السيد يوشع في جنوب أفريقيا خاض التجربة وعنده من المساندات اللي هي تفيد كيف تكون الإجراءات الصحيحة.
أنا أعتقد كما ذكروا الإخوة الجهود اليوم في الميدان كبيرة جدا، المعلومات أيضا متواجدة بغزارة وبكثافة أيضا، لكن اليوم بحاجة إلى فرز، بحاجة إلى تصنيف، بحاجة إلى توثيق، بحاجة وخطوات عملية يبنى عليها. أنا أعتقد جهدنا ربما يكون أكبر من جهد الدول المستبدة. إذا رتبنا هذا الجهد وطرقنا الأبواب بشكل صحيح سيصابون بالذعر. هم يعني خائفين، هم مدركين خطورة الملفات التي يمتلكها المنظمات الحقوقية والنشطاء الحقوقيين، ولذلك هم يعملون بقوة في المجال السياسي حتى لا يقعون في الطريق القانوني.
عظيم. دكتور عزت، في نهاية هذا اللقاء ما هو يعني وجهة نظرك تلخيصا لهذا اللقاء الطيب ونصيحتك للحراك القانوني الذي نسعى فيه ربط كل الإخوة القانونيين ومن يعنيهم الأمر؟
نعم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أولا لن أنصح ولكن أحاول أن أجمع ما قاله الإخوة سواء باللغة الإنجليزية أو باللغة العربية، وهو جد خطير. أولا ما طرحه أخي الحبيب توفيق من أن الملف القانوني إذا تدخل فيه السياسي فيثبطه أو يقلله أو يقلل من قوته. عقب عليه الدكتور الدرديري وقال إن يجب أن يسير الملفين بالتوازي، وهذا ما قاله الأخ توفيق أيضا. فإذا نتفق أن لازم أي هيئة أو أي يافطة أو لافتة تكون يجب أن تجمع ما بين السياسي والقانوني حتى نسير في الطريق الصحيح. أضم صوتي إلى صوت الدكتور عبد الموجود الدرديري، إن لم نستطع أن نتوحد جميعا فعلى الأقل يكون هناك ثمة تنسيق، والتنسيق يبدأ من الدول خارج الدول الدكتاتورية أي دولنا، على أساس أننا نتحرك في مساحة من الحرية إلى حد كبير، وعليه فيجب أن يكون التحرك من الدول الأوروبية، من الجاليات الموجودة في الدول الأوروبية والدول الإفريقية والأسيوية كذلك. تلك واحدة. الثانية هو أن تصنف المجموعة أو المجموعات اللي موجودة، سواء هتبقى في هيئة دولية لها فروع وقد
هل نحن في حاجة إلى غطاء قانوني جديد يتم تأسيسه؟
شيئين اثنين كما
أفرد الدكتور. أن يكفي التنسيق ما بين كل المنظمات.
هذا طرح الدكتور الدرديري في كم مرة. يا إما تكون هيئة موحدة دولية لها فروع في كل دولة من الدول الأوروبية والولايات المتحدة وغيره، وإما أن تكون على الأقل هناك ثمة تنسيق ما بين. المهم أن نبدأ تلك الثانية. الثالثة أن تصنف هذه الملفات، والداتا هي كثيرة جدا لكن تصنف تحت متخصصين، بمعنى أنه حينما يكون هناك تقرير طبي يجب أن يرجع إلى طبيب ليصنفه، ثم يذهب إلى قانوني أو محامي أو حقوقي ليضع يعني التوصيف القانوني إليه، حتى لا نقع في نفس ما وقع إليه الإخوة حينما قدموا إلى محكمة الجنايات الدولية، والمثل أعطاه الأخ توفيق على الأخت الأردنية. تجهيز الملفات كما تجهيز حاجة علمية أكاديمية يجب أن تكون موثقة ومقعدة قواعد قانونية حقوقية واضحة. ده تمام. الأخيرة وهي نعم أن لا نثبت أحدا قام بمجهود ونقول هذا أولى الآن. الملفات كلها لها أولوية، الملف السياسي له أولوية، الملف القانوني له أولوية، الملف الإنساني له أولوية، برضو العمل الإنساني والعمل الاجتماعي له أولوية. فهناك ناس يموتون، أولاد المعتقلين لا يجدوا ما يسد رمقهم، فلذلك لا نثبت أحدا يسري في خط. فالإخوة القانونيين والحقوقيين نحن خدام لهم، الأطباء يقوموا بتقاريرهم أيضا، وده المهم جدا أيضا، ألا نهمل التقارير الدولية من المنظمات الدولية، حتى وإن بين قوسين يعني نقول أنهم ليسوا مع حقوقنا بالكلية، بل على الأقل التقارير الأخيرة قرأتها وقرأت بعضها على الأقل تصب في صالحنا. ونحاول. النقطة الأخيرة لو سمحتني من فضلك، بالضبط كده. لو حصل فشل أو سقوط أو عدم توفيق سميه في إجراء معين نعيده مرة أخرى بصياغة أخرى، بالضبط كما تصحح أي بحث أو غيره.
احنا في نهاية حديثنا احنا طبعا نستكمل لقاء آخر باللغة العربية فقط حول الحراك القانوني ومستقبل تعاون جميع المنظمات العاملة في حقل حقوق الإنسان.
الصعيدية بتاعتنا برضو نعملها.
أكيد طبعا. وفي الحقيقة هذه الجرائم التي ارتكبتها الأنظمة الاستبدادية في العالم العربي لن تسقط بالتقادم. وفي نهاية لقائي لا يسعني إلا أتوجه بالشكر للدكتور عزت عوض، الأستاذ توفيق حميدي، براذر عامر from باكستان، الأخ الدكتور عبد الموجود درديري، سعادة الدكتور عبد اللبان. سعدنا بلقائكم جميعا أعزائي المشاهدين. في نهاية لقائنا لا يسعني إلا وأن أشكركم وأقول ما ضاع حق وراءه مطالب. استودعكم الله وإلى لقاء قريب، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. جزاكم الله.